Welcome to the Pelican Debrief podcast. To get your podcast debriefing, I am your host, Chris Barnwell. Today we have a short little podcast going for you so everyone can keep their Black Fridays going strong. I hope you all had a very nice Thanksgiving yesterday. With me live from Phillips Arena is Bo Churney of HawksHoop and Hardwood Paroxysm. Bo, how are you?
I'm great. Just chilling out at my second home, Phillips Arena here.
Looks like you got a lot going on there, so there's probably going to be some background noise. Sorry for that, but
Yeah, I'll try to mute my mic if they come over the PA doing stuff or whatever. But
Bo's just giving us the best live possible action you can give us.
yeah, that's what I do here.
How
we're
often
at sports
do we?
talk. This is appropriate background for sports talk.
Yeah, perfect. How often do we get live arena feeds here on these little blogs of ours? Come on, man. All right, so let's keep this short. Let's get right into the action. Hawks-Pelicans tonight. What do you think is going to be the key to the game?
I'm going to say three-point shooting is probably the biggest key for the Pelicans. Just a couple of things. We know Anthony Davis is going to get his. Ashik's going to probably, get boards. Davis is going to get boards. So Atlanta's going to lose that battle. So they just have to mainly win the three-point battle. Atlanta's one of the best three-point shooting teams, and they shoot at a very high volume. So for the Pelicans, Drew Holiday, Tyreke Evans, they're not really good three-point shooters, but they're guys that can get streaky and get hot. And if they make a couple of threes, that could be a big game changer that could just, give the game for the Pelicans.
If they can make threes, honestly, when this team is making threes, they're one of the better teams in the NBA just because it opens up so much for the spacing because, like you said, they have guys like Tyreke Evans and Drew Holiday who they do their best work at the rim. Holiday's a good shooter, but he's mainly a penetration point guard. Evans is all about getting to the rim. Anthony Davis, if you give him space, he's just going to kill you.
There will also be some room for the Pelicans in the long two range. Atlanta's been trying to force a lot of long twos. They did that against the Lakers, and the Lakers are making those shots. That's part of the reason why LA had such success. So it could also be a little bit if they're just sinking jumpers, period. But I think that it's going to make a bigger difference if they're sinking three-pointers than if they're just sinking long twos.
And honestly, that's a bad thing for the Pelicans from their perspective, just because this team, they just love to shoot. They just take the shots that are given, and you've seen that in a lot of their late game failings. They failed a few games this year where they weren't giving the ball to Anthony Davis because they were just taking these horrible long-range jump shots. Not even the three-pointers, just two-pointers. And it was give the ball to Anthony Davis. He's your best player. Monty Williams actually had a comment earlier in the week. He's we need him shooting 20 times a game. What do you guys think you're going to do to slow down Anthony Davis? Paul Millsap, he's not a bad defender, but he's not going to slow down Anthony Davis.
You're breaking out. I can't hear you that well.
I broke out. What was the last thing you heard?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you there. Something Anthony Davis. I heard a lot of that. I just heard last thing. I heard something Anthony Davis. So.
What do you guys think you're going to do to be able to stop Anthony Davis? Because Paul Millsap, he's not a bad defender. He's just not going to stop Anthony Davis.
Well, that's the point. No one's going to stop Anthony Davis. So it's just going to go out to stopping the other guys, which is where the three-point factor comes into play for the Pelicans. If you just let Anthony Davis get his because he's going to get it anyways, if you try to double him, that's just going to make things worse for you because you're leaving guys open. So Millsap and Horford probably take turns guarding Davis. I expect a lot of, possibly not necessarily doubling, but a lot of, sort of interference from the guards to try to distract them. But you're not stopping Anthony Davis at this point this year. He's been a monster doing everything. So I wouldn't go through trying to double him or anything like that.
So you think they're going to do that Dwight Howard strategy, that they kind of made that famous when Dwight was in Orlando? He's going to get his. We're going to beat everyone else.
Well, I think that's smart coaching. Especially with the way the league is going towards three-pointers. If you don't guard the three-point line, you're gonna lose. It's simple as that.
Very true, very true. So, who do you think? How are you guys going to handle a guy like Ryan Anderson?
He is a big factor, and I'm actually happy to see him playing well with injuries he suffered last year and things he had going on in his personal life. But I think it just goes with the same thing: guard the 3-point line. Atlanta's defense has been pretty bad this year. They've had some problems guarding pretty much everywhere. But I'd see them like the air towards giving up twos instead of giving up threes.
So they're going to try and chase him off if they can.
Yeah. It all depends on what Jeff Teague does. If Jeff Teague can kind of stay on his man through pick and rolls, that'll make a big difference towards the big man not having to help, and that'll also help defend the 3-point line since Jeff Teague's kind of a bad defender. But
one guy I'm worried about for the Pelicans is Kyle Korver. Just like the shooting guard position.
Everybody's worried about Kyle Korver whenever they're facing Atlanta. He's a big factor.
Oh, he's a huge factor, but like the Pelicans especially, just their shooting guards this year are bad. Eric Gordon, I mean, Austin Rivers is having an up year, and an up year for Austin Rivers is like a mediocre year for everyone else. So
that might be overstating Austin Rivers a little bit.
Hey, he's been not bad this year. Check the numbers. Watch the games.
I know, but he's.
But seriously, like,
I just castled gift on live there.
I have no idea how they're going to stop just Kyle Korver. Like, the minute they run a pick and roll, like if they go low, he'll fire. If they try and stay on him, Korver's fast enough to run around and get an open shot anyways. Like, I have no idea what they're going to do.
I have a question for you. How good is Tyreek guarding off of screens, going through screens, going around screens? How quick is he going through those? Like, because that could be a big factor. Because he'll probably be the one guarding Korver for a lot of minutes.
When he's not getting lost, he's okay. He's not a great defender. He's not an atrocious one. Like, he has the athleticism to recover, but the way the Hawks will run like 2 or 3 screens at you in one possession, he's gonna get lost on plenty of those. I can totally see that happening.
That might be a problem for them then if he can't, because there's a lot of guys where they aren't necessarily great one-on-one defenders, but they're gritty and they're able to get around and through screens, so they're able to keep up with Korver, and that limits a lot of what Atlanta can do. Because if Korver's not getting open and it's only one guy that's responsible for guarding him, that just kind of like kills Atlanta's spacing a little bit. It's hard to do, but it's possible. But if you're saying Tyreek can't do that, then Korver will probably get some open looks tonight. It'll all depend if he's able to make them.
Okay.
I really wonder like what they're going to be like. This is probably going to be a shootout, honestly, because the Pelicans bench. Not their bench. The Pelicans defense is not that good. We'll get to the bench in a second. Like, it's been better this year. It hasn't been great lately with Ashik being injured. The Hawks defense has been so like if the Pelicans are in a shootout with the Hawks, I kind of give the edge to the Hawks. What I really give the edge to the Hawks then is the bench. The Pelicans bench has just been really, really bad this year, and well, a lot of people question the Hawks' depth at the beginning of the season. I mean, both of us.
And those people were stupid.
Yeah, we both realized that was incredibly wrong to do. They have an incredibly deep bench. Well, not incredibly deep, but a very competent bench.
I mean, they had success last year, and that was with all the injuries, and they were still having guys off the bench come in and make an impact. And now that they have Horford back, Pero probably isn't out like he was out for about a month and a half last year. So that just, I mean, they have, Pero on the bench now. Even though he's not making his shots, he's stretching the floor. So a lot of times he'll have a game where he's 2 points on 6 shots, but he was also a plus 11 in that span. And a lot of people are like, whoa, well, how did he do that? It's because he's a pretty good defender. He stretches the floor, so he allows everybody else to work. He sets pretty good screens. So, I mean, he just does a lot of things that don't appear in the box score when he's not making shots. And now you have that guy on your bench instead of him starting like he was last year. So that was just one of the biggest things to me, is when people said the Hawks wouldn't have a bench player. I was like, well, that guy's moving to the bench, and then you're going to have, Shelvin Mack, who had a great year last year, Mike Scott, who is firing right now.
He guns. I love watching Mike Scott. He guns.
He would be like a professional hot potato champion. He does not hold on to the ball very long. He gets it. Might look for something, and then it goes up a lot. You have Thabo Sefolosha. He's out for tonight, which is actually a pretty big factor because he's been a great defender this year in spelling Damari Carroll. But he's also on the bench, and that was a big underrated acquisition because that's just it. He's a guy that's probably starting caliber, but he'll be on the bench for Atlanta. It's like, oh, they have nothing on their bench. And I'm just thinking, are you crazy? They have a bunch of really good role players that'll fit nicely. And then Dennis Schroeder's come along very well this year. He's scoring. His defense is usually pretty good. It wasn't against the Raptors the other night, but nobody's defense was good against the Raptors the other night. So, I mean, they have a good, solid bench. Probably one of the better, like, all-around units, I think, in the league. But it just seemed absurd to me that people didn't think they had anything on the bench.
I wanted to talk about the umlaut for a second, and for those who are unaware, the umlaut is Dennis Schroeder. He's had an up year this year, and I think that could be an advantage for the Hawks tonight because the Pelicans don't really have a backup point guard. Like, they kind of just throw either Austin Rivers or Jimmer Fredette out there.
Ooh.
Yeah, and with the Eric Gordon injury, now they're really not doing well.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you're just going to try to throw Jimmer on Schroeder, Schroeder's just going to eat up because he has the quick first step, and he's just going to keep getting in the lane consistently. That's the same thing with Teague. If Teague's ever in there and like Drew gets in the foul trouble, that could be a big issue for the Pelicans.
Oh, jeez, that is very unsettling for Pelicans fans to hear because
Jeff Teague's been really good so far.
Yeah, he's been really good, but like when Jrue Holiday goes out, if Teague ever gets to go up against one of those backup guards, he's going to eat him alive.
Well, Teague might eat Holiday alive because I think he's one of those guys that, like, there's a couple guys in the league that Teague kind of has like a chip on his shoulder when he's playing against them. And
Holiday one of them?
It's always those mid-range, like, I don't want to say mediocre because that seems like sort of bad, but those like not top 10 point guards, but like
but
those
not
in like
bottom
the 15
20
range. Yeah, those are like in the 15 range. So like Holiday and Brandon Jennings. I think he hates Brandon Jennings because he always goes hard against him. Lawson could be a top 10 guy, but he always tries to go pretty hard against Lawson too. So it just seems like those guys. I think they might all be in his draft class. Besides
maybe
Jennings.
That's what it is.
I don't know, but he always seems to go hard against those guys, and he's playing. And it's November, so he always plays well in November, so that could spell some problems for New Orleans. I'm waiting for the inevitable. I can't not write about Jeff Teague's hot start.
Bo? I think we lost Bo. Looks like we lost Bo. All right, well, that was a bit of an anticlimactic ending. All right, final thoughts on tonight's game because we have lost Bo for the night. I think the Pelicans will need Anthony Davis to go uber if they're going to beat the Hawks because the Hawks are a more talented team with the bench. They have a much more deeper team. The bench is a very big weak spot. Pretty much any time the main players aren't in for the Pelicans, they are going to get obliterated. That's my honest opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the West, after all, the Pelicans are a Western team, so they do have an advantage against the Eastern teams. We will have to see. But thank you for watching. Sorry for the anticlimactic ending. Bo, I don't know where you went. We will see you all next time.